You did not stop here by accident. Right now, in this exact moment, something inside you felt a quiet pull. Maybe you were scrolling past 100 other things. Maybe you were trying to distract yourself. Maybe you were doing everything you possibly could to not think about them. And yet here you are, reading these words, feeling something in your chest that you cannot quite name, but you also cannot ignore. That is not coincidence. That is not random. Carl Jung spent his entire life studying the invisible forces that pull human beings toward exactly what their soul needs to hear at exactly the right moment. He called it synchronicity. And what is happening to you right now, in this moment, is a perfect example of it. There's a reason the number 3 matters today. 3 is the number of completion in Jungian psychology. 3 is the number of return. And today you're going to hear 3 specific reasons why the person you've been missing, the one whose name still lives quietly in the back of your mind, is making their way back to you. Not maybe, not possibly, not if the stars align. There's a process already in motion. It started before you clicked here. It started before you even realized you were still thinking about them. And by the time you finish reading every word of what is about to be shared with you today, something is going to shift inside you. Not just hope, something deeper than hope, something that feels closer to knowing. Stay here. Every word from this point forward was arranged for you specifically. This is your moment, and it begins right now. Let's talk about what you have actually been living with, because it is not just missing someone. It is so much heavier than that single word allows. Missing someone sounds simple. Missing someone sounds like a small ache, but what you've been carrying is nothing like small. What you have been carrying has weight, real weight, the kind that sits on your chest at 3 in the morning when the world is quiet and your mind refuses to be. You have had nights where you picked up your phone and put it back down more times than you can count. Nights where you drafted a message in your head, rewrote it, decided against it, and then lay in the dark feeling foolish for even wanting to reach out. You have had moments in the middle of an ordinary day, maybe standing in a line, maybe washing dishes, maybe driving somewhere familiar when a song came on or a smell drifted past, and suddenly they were everywhere. Suddenly, the ordinary day was not ordinary at all. You have checked their profile. Maybe not today. Maybe you told yourself you were done doing that. But there were days when you did. Days when you looked and looked for something, some sign, some clue, some small proof that they were feeling even a fraction of what you were feeling. And maybe you found nothing. And maybe that nothing hurt more than anything they could have actually said. You have smiled in rooms full of people while carrying this. You have answered the question, how are you doing? With fine, with good, with I'm okay, when the honest answer was something you didn't have words for yet. You have held this quietly. You have carried it with a kind of dignity that most people around you never even noticed. But here's what you need to hear right now. It was noticed. The universe does not miss the weight a soul carries in silence. Carl Jung believed that the depth of your suffering is always equal to the depth of your capacity for love. You did not suffer small, which means you did not love small. And that love, that rare and genuine love you gave, does not disappear. It does not evaporate. It leaves a mark on the soul of the person who received it, whether they are ready to admit that yet or not. Your pain was never proof that it was over. It was proof that it mattered. Carl Jung did not believe in accidents. He spent decades, his entire professional life, and much of his personal one, studying the deep architecture of a human soul. And one of the things he returned to again and again, one of the ideas that anchored his entire understanding of human connection, was this: that certain souls do not simply meet by chance. They are drawn together by forces that operate far below the surface of ordinary logic. He called the deeper layer of the mind the collective unconscious. Not your personal memories, not your private thoughts, but something older and wider, a layer of the psyche that connects human beings to each other in ways that cannot always be explained and should not always be dismissed. And what Jung understood about love, specifically about the kind of love that does not resolve itself cleanly, the kind that lingers, that stays alive even through separation, even through silence, even through all the rational arguments for why it should be over, is that this kind of love is operating at that deeper level. It is not just emotional attachment. It is a signal from the unconscious that something between these two souls remains unfinished. Unfinished does not mean broken. Unfinished means incomplete, and what is incomplete has a natural pull toward completion. Jung observed this pattern across thousands of cases throughout his life. The soul seeks wholeness, always. And when two people share a genuine unconscious bond, separation is often not an ending. It is a phase, a difficult, painful, necessary phase before the return. There are 3 specific reasons this return is already in motion for you. And the first one begins in a place you would never expect. Before we go further, if these words are reaching something real inside you, if they are landing somewhere that needed to be touched, then this channel was made for you. Please subscribe right now and hit the bell and select all notifications, because every single video here has the power to shift something deep within you. Reason number 1 is something Carl Jung called the shadow, not darkness in the way most people imagine it, not something evil or sinister. The shadow, in Jungian psychology, is simply the part of yourself that you have not yet faced, the parts you pushed down, the parts you were ashamed of, the parts you buried under years of habit and defense, and the quiet agreement to never look too closely at certain things about yourself. Every human being has a shadow. And here is what most people never understand about the person who walked away from you, or the person who created distance, or the person who hurt you in ways they may not have even fully understood at the time. They were not acting from their highest self. They were acting from their shadow, from the unexamined, unhealed, unacknowledged parts of themselves that they had never been brave enough to sit with. And separation does something to a person. Real separation. The kind where someone who genuinely mattered is suddenly gone from their daily life. It forces a confrontation. Not immediately, not in the first weeks when distraction is easy and pride is loud. But eventually, in the quiet moments that come for everyone, the shadow begins to speak. It asks uncomfortable questions. Why did I do that? Why did I let that go? What was I actually afraid of? What did I destroy and why did I destroy it? These are not easy questions. Most people resist them for as long as they possibly can. But the soul has its own timeline, and the soul is patient in a way the ego never is. Right now, whether they are showing it or not, whether they would ever admit it to anyone sitting across from them, the person you miss is in the middle of this process. The silence you have been reading as indifference is not always indifference. Sometimes silence is the sound of someone finally sitting with themselves for the first time, finally asking the questions they avoided when you were there to distract them from asking. Jung said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The person who left you is being directed right now by forces inside them they are only beginning to understand. And what they are beginning to understand is that what they had with you was not replaceable, was not ordinary, was not something that simply comes along again if you wait long enough. The shadow is showing them what they lost. And that is the first reason the movement back toward you has already begun. Now, this is the one. This is the reason that is going to land differently than anything you expected to hear today. This is the reason you need to read slowly. Because what is about to be explained to you is not motivational language. It is not comfort for comfort's sake. It is a documented psychological and spiritual phenomenon that Carl Jung spent years writing about, years defending to colleagues who were not ready to accept it, and years watching unfold in the lives of real people exactly like you. Synchronicity. Jung defined it as a meaningful coincidence. 2 events that have no logical causal connection, but are linked by meaning in a way that cannot be rationally dismissed. And here is what he discovered about 2 people who share a genuine soul-level bond. When they separate, the synchronicity between them does not stop. It does not switch off because one of them decided they needed space, or because life pulled them in different directions, or because pride won a battle it had no business winning. The bond continues to generate signals. On both sides. Think about the moments you have experienced since this person left your daily life. The times their name appeared somewhere unexpected. The song that came on in a moment of weakness and felt like it was written about exactly what you were living through. The dream where they showed up so clearly that you woke up reaching. The moment you thought of them intensely, and then something connected to them appeared within hours. You dismissed these things. You told yourself you were projecting. You told yourself your mind was simply doing what grieving minds do. But here is what Jung would tell you directly. You were not imagining it. You were receiving. And here's the part that will shock you. They are experiencing the exact same thing on their side. The same unexplained pulls. The same moments where your face arrives in their mind without invitation. The same songs. The same dreams. The same 2 a.m. wait that has no clean explanation. The synchronicity bond between two genuinely connected souls operates like a frequency. It does not require both people to be in contact for it to function. It does not require permission. It does not go quiet simply because one person tried to move on. You cannot move on from a synchronicity bond by pretending it is not there. You can only move on by completing it, by returning to it, and resolving what was left unresolved. Jung saw this pattern repeat across his entire career. Two souls pulled together by something beyond logic, separated by fear or circumstance or timing, and then drawn back, not by romantic strategy, not by the right text message, but by the invisible and unbreakable thread that was woven between the moment they first truly saw each other. That thread is still there, on your side, and on theirs. It is pulling right now, whether they are ready to admit it yet or not. If reason too just landed somewhere deep inside you, if something in you recognized that truth before your mind could even process it, that is the synchronicity bond making itself known. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on all notifications. What comes next in this series will continue to shift you. The third reason is the one that requires you to zoom out, not just from this relationship, not just from this period of pain, but from the entire arc of what this connection was always meant to be in your life. Because Carl Jung did not believe that significant relationships enter and exit our lives randomly. He believed they arrive with purpose. He believed that the soul calls in exactly the experiences it needs in order to grow into its fullest form. And that means the person you miss did not arrive in your life by accident any more than you stopped here today by accident. They were sent for reasons that were always bigger than the two of you may have understood while you were inside the experience. Now here is what Jung observed about cycles. Every genuine soul-level connection has a natural arc. There is a meeting, there is an awakening, there is a challenge, and then there is either completion or continuation. Most people experience the challenge phase and interpret it as the ending. They feel the friction, the distance, the pain, and they conclude that this is proof the connection was wrong, that they made a mistake, that love was not enough. But Jung saw it differently. He saw the challenge phase as the most critical part of the cycle, the part where both souls are being shaped by the connection into something they could not have become without it. The separation you have been living through is not the universe closing a door. It is the universe applying pressure to both of you until you become the versions of yourselves that can actually sustain what this connection is capable of being. Think about who you were when this began. Think about who you are now, the patience you have developed, the self-worth you have been forced to rebuild from the inside, the clarity you now have about what you will and will not accept. You are not the same person, and neither are they. The cycle has been doing its work on both of you simultaneously. And cycles, by their very nature, complete themselves. The universe does not begin something genuine and leave it permanently unresolved. What was started between you and this person has not reached its natural end. It has reached its turning point. And turning points always lead somewhere. The cycle is completing, and it is completing in your direction. Now let us talk about what is already happening around you. Because the three reasons you just heard are not abstract theory. They are not philosophical comfort designed to make you feel better for an hour before reality sets back in. They are active forces, and active forces leave evidence. They leave traces. They leave small, specific, undeniable signals in the everyday fabric of your life that something is shifting, that the distance is closing, that the person you've been missing is already in motion, even if neither of you has exchanged a single word yet. And you have noticed some of these signs already. You may have dismissed them. You may have talked yourself out of trusting them. But somewhere underneath the logic you use to protect yourself, you felt them. You knew something was different. Something was moving. Here is what that movement looks like. You have been thinking about them more than usual recently. Not the sad, heavy thinking of the early days. Something different, lighter, almost like anticipation, without a name. Like your body knows something your mind has not been told yet. That shift in the quality of your thoughts about them is not wishful thinking. It is your unconscious receiving a signal that the energetic distance between you is narrowing. Their name is appearing in unexpected places, not constantly, but in moments of stillness, in moments when you were not looking for it. A name on a screen that is not them but hits the same way. A place you both went to appearing in something you were reading. A number that means something. These are not accidents. These are the synchronicity Jung described making itself visible. You have had the urge to reach out and then stop yourself. That urge is real and it is two-directional. The impulse you feel toward them is a mirror of the impulse they're feeling toward you. Synchronicity does not generate one-sided pulls. When you feel drawn, they feel drawn. The difference is only in who has done more of the inner work required to act on it. Old memories have been surfacing, not the painful ones. The good ones, the specific ones. The ones with texture and detail and warmth. Your unconscious does not surface those memories to torture you. It surfaces them to remind you what is real, what was real, what remains real regardless of the silence sitting between you right now. The evidence is already there. You just needed permission to trust it. So here's the question that matters most right now. Not will they come back. You have 3 reasons, grounded in Jungian psychology and the deepest mechanics of human connection, that answer that question clearly. The question that matters most right now is this. Who are you going to be when they do? Because there's a version of this return that heals both of you and builds something genuinely new. And there's a version where the same patterns repeat, because neither person did the internal work during the separation. The difference between those 2 versions is entirely determined by what you choose to do right now, in this period, before the return happens. So here's what you must do, and listen carefully because this is not passive advice. Stop waiting and start preparing. Waiting is surrender. Waiting is giving your power to a timeline you cannot control. Preparing is different. Preparing means you are actively becoming the version of yourself that this connection deserves. It means you are filling your days with things that grow you rather than things that simply fill the silence. Release the shame of having loved deeply. There's a quiet embarrassment that comes with missing someone who has not yet returned. A feeling that your love makes you weak or foolish or too much. Release that completely. Carl Jung said that the capacity to love without guarantee is one of the highest expressions of psychological maturity. You are not foolish for loving. You are rare. Raise your standard for your own peace. Every day between now and the return is a day that belongs entirely to you. Use it. Read the things that expand you. Walk in places that restore you. Sit in the silence long enough to hear your own wisdom, rather than only the noise of missing them. The version of you that has chosen peace over desperation is irresistible to someone who has been doing their shadow work on the other side of the separation. Do not reach out from emptiness. If contact comes, and it will come, let it come from fullness. Let the first words you speak or write to them carry the energy of someone who found themselves during the silence, not someone who survived it barely. Prepare, not wait. There's a profound difference, and it will change everything about how this return unfolds. There is something you need to hear before this ends. You were never easy to forget, not for a single day, not in any of the time that has passed. The person you miss has not been living in clean, undisturbed peace since the separation. They have been living with the memory of you in the background of everything, quietly, persistently, in the way that genuine things do not simply go quiet because you asked them to. Your love was not ordinary. The way you saw them, the way you understood them in moments when they did not even fully understand themselves, the way your presence felt different from anyone else they had known before you. That does not get replaced. That does not get forgotten. It gets carried, sometimes heavily, sometimes in silence, but it gets carried. Carl Jung said that we are not just individuals. We are also the relationships that shaped us. You shape them in ways that are permanent, in ways that are still working on them, right now, even across the distance. So hold your self-worth, not because it is a strategy, not because playing it cool will trigger their return, but because you genuinely deserve to move through this period standing tall. Because the love that is meant for you will always find you in your wholeness, never in your desperation. Trust the 3 reasons. Trust the cycle. Trust yourself. What is meant for you is already on its way back. If these words reach something real inside you today, do not let this be the only time you feel this. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on all notifications so you never miss what comes next. This journey of understanding love, the soul, and your own power is only just beginning.